Welcome back. Now, we're still reviewing the year 2017, looking at our politics, and we were talking about some of the issues that divided us a bit earlier in the year with the restructuring debate. And then we saw the response of the military at the time. Prof, I'm directing this question to you, with Operation Python Dance, etc. Looking at it legally speaking, did everything go as it should have gone at the time?
Well, the way I understand it, the military have a mandate to attack internal insurrection and external aggression. That's their mandate as military. So there was nothing inherently wrong in deploying military forces to keep Nigeria together. Nnamdi Kanu had actually crossed the line with his antics, with his campaign for Biafra and all that. And when you have a drastic situation, you have to adopt drastic measures to contain an incipient rebellion. Everybody has said we can't survive another civil war. And Ojukwu, who led the first civil war, the first rebellion, also believed that we should learn from history. So I really find nothing wrong in the military ensuring the survival of Nigeria. They were merely carrying out their mandate.
But, Prof, at that time, some of the loyalists at the time had said that they were not bearing arms. And we have other groups in this country who had risen up bearing arms, gun-toting in the afternoon. People know who they are. And there was no such mission to silence them, as you saw with the Biafra side. So what about that argument?
Well, you're talking of double standard, isn't it? The iPod, the way I saw them, were a clear and present danger to the survival of Nigeria as a nation. And you see, we can't go on claiming that we're the leading country on the African continent or in the black race and allow our sovereignty to go to waste. So quite sincerely, I think the military did what they had to do. I don't know where Nnamdi Kanu is. Perhaps he could have been arrested again because I think he jumped bail. If I remember rightly, he flouted the conditions of his bail. So you could have used the legal process to contain his activities. But we had all manner of people, governors, Ohaneze, Ndigbo, and all sorts of people were apparently conniving with Nnamdi Kanu. And the military, faced with a clear and present threat to Nigeria, they were ordered to contain what I call the incipient rebellion. I know that Fulani herdsmen
they prefer to
have
be called
done
herdsmen,
all sorts of things against pastoralists, against farmers.
And individuals as well.
Well, I think Nigeria too has a question to answer. How to ensure that fellow Nigerians will not take up arms against their compatriots. Something has to be done. I'm not for any minute condoning the activities of Fulani herdsmen, bearing AK-47s and marauding and despoiling farmlands in different parts of the country.
Mr. Oro, is this something in your experience that you see as dangerous for us?
I rather look at it from a different point of view. That is the point from which we took off. The structure of Nigeria, issues of equity, issues of fairness. Biafra, 50 years down the line, suddenly made a recrudescence. The noise became so loud. For some time, the noise wasn't quite that loud. We should find out what went wrong in between. That time, the noise wasn't that quite loud. What took place? And why did it suddenly, resurface from 2015, 2016, late 2015, early 2016? It comes down to the issue of equity, fairness, justice, and the true federal system we talked about before. It's something we cannot run away from. You see, there is a saying that wherever oppression exists, resistance exists as well. It may differ in character and form, but it never ceases. So rather than the military being deployed and all that, we must return to the foundation, to the fundamental. And that is the structure of Nigeria that will make for equity, fairness, and justice. Only then can groups like Biafra and other groups rising here and there, can be resolved ultimately. You ask yourself, the military went to, contain Biafra in the east. The military went to the Niger Delta. At the end of the day, it was dialogue in the Niger at the end of the day, in the Niger Delta, it was dialogue that resolved the issue. At some point, our oil export came down to 1 million barrels per day. The military were there. Nothing happened until some, decisive efforts were made to address the issue the right way. And before you knew it, the violence went down. So I would rather look at it from the point of view of addressing the fundamentals. And that will revolve around the issue of true federalism and restructuring. But I tell you, restructuring is an idea whose time has come. And between now and 2019, it has to be resolved one way or the other.
Mr. Shehu, let's end this conversation with you. That phrase, the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. There are some who will argue that that phrase should not stand, that every association is negotiable. What do you think?
And I would say that they're entitled to their own opinions, but would they have their way? Let them go and work using the existing, institutional structures. We're a democratic society.
So, but the question will now be, can two people work together unless they agree?
I'm saying to you that many of these ideas, when they are tested in the parliament, where the sovereignty of the people lies, they'll be defeated. So we are either Democrats or we are not. And I want to say that, with the due respect to these our leaders, the scholars who are with you over there, the country needs also to begin to acquire new tools, of research and to understand what is wrong with this country. And indeed, the whole world is confronted by new problems represented by the social media. There is xenophobia, there is growing nationalism outside the country, tribalism, ethnicity, religiosity, issues that have been settled in our affairs in the 60s. They're back all over again. And
Mr. Shehu, have these issues really been settled? You say these are issues that have been settled?
Yeah, tribalism, yes.
I don't think people would agree with you that issues of tribalism and issues of this have been totally settled. If not, we would not be where we are right now. The question
that's why I'm saying that this...
If you just let me put the question to you, the question we're trying to put to you is, if there are no issues and everything is resolved and everything is fine, why do we have the problems that we have right now when we look at ourselves as a nation?
Because we have people who hold strong views, which they don't want to put, they don't want to resolve in a manner that is consistent with the tenets of democracy. Otherwise, if anybody feels strongly that this country is wrongly, set up or this or that, they have the parliament to go to. Okay. And they should respect democratic institutions. We are not going to continue to set up parallel legislative authority, side by side with the existing parliament, and then you do a conference, pay people huge sums of money, and then they write reports that nobody uses.
All right, Mr.
Every administration in the country we had.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garba Shehu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity. Thank you for joining us on our retrospect of 2017. And in our Lagos studio, we had Professor Akin Oyebode, Professor of International Law, a septuagenarian, and congratulations, recent septuagenarian on your retirement, and Dr. David Aworawa, Lecturer, Department of History and International Studies, University of Lagos. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
We will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.